Hey everyone, I'm Lillian.
And I'm Felipe.
We are the Postmodern family.
We are Americans living in the UK, living a traditional life.
We make 3 new videos a week, so we encourage you to subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So I think one natural question would be, is it what you thought it was? Because I talked about, I wanted to see it for myself, and one voice said it's great, another voice said it's depraved, and I think both voices are still true. So there's a latent energy and independence, especially in the working class. I think the middle class is really caught up in the right side of history, let's say, quote unquote, in being proper and everyone being equal. Apologetic for the heritage and quietly sailing down the river.
But I think that is a part of our little village mentality. It's kind of a village, rural mentality. But when you get into bigger cities or university areas, or up north, people say it's a bit more bolder. They're a bit bolder to believe what they want to believe. A bit more cowboy.
I don't know. I just the biggest clash is the sort of almost innocent, sheepish trust people have of their government here, of institutions, anything that has sort of official stamp and the right certifications and the right degrees and the right titles. That thing over there with the right stamp of approval is to be trusted.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a modern British development that wasn't there before. And so, because they say that, like with Canada, Quebec, and the US, these colonial territories, they tend to retain the older identity of the colonials who founded them. Whereas the mother country develops farther away from that original mutual identity or shared identity. So there's sort of sheepish trust of institution and government. I don't know. In the U.S., it's radically different. You have the motto is very true that the government should fear its people, not the people its government. Whereas here, I think I fear the government a lot more. So that is to say that the government is a servant of the people, and the people run the show in a sense. The people are in control, and an institution is viewed with skepticism, with okay, what are they trying to do to me now? What are they trying to trick me into? What are they trying to steal from me? What are they trying to take from me? Rather than, I trust these people, they know what they're doing, I'm just a nobody, I don't want to even think about it, I just want to pay my taxes and quietly go about my life. It's very different. So, is it what I thought it would be? I didn't expect that inherent blind trust with the government. And I do think it's very much more post-Christian than the United States is. I think the destruction of the nuclear family is much further along here in the UK than it is in the US. So it's almost like another world entirely. The idea of the nuclear family, a married man and a woman with children staying together for a lifetime, is so rare here, so much rarer. And this isn't to offend anyone who's a single parent who has had children outside of wedlock. I know that here that's the norm now in many instances, and
No, I was talking to someone. I think it was a teenager, and she was saying when you're among teenage friends, you're kind of an outcast if your parents haven't been divorced by the time you finish high school. You're
the odd one?
Yeah, you're like the odd one if you still have parents who are married.
If you still have your mom and dad still married.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just taken for granted. No one questions that shouldn't be the norm, right? So you don't know what. It's almost like the people don't realize what's been lost, and the impact that fractured families have on the children. So now what's happened is that a generation has experienced the fractured family, and then perpetuated it.
Yeah, and that's the norm.
So they've now perpetuated it to the next generation, and now that's the norm.
Yeah.
So it would take like a mountain of effort of individuals from broken families to now decide we're not going to break our families.
The other thing is like the educational institution. Since I've been home educating my daughter in the classical educational model, it's been shocking to find that no one seems to know or have heard of classical education. And whereas in America, there are still classical academies all over the place.
I think that people, as they hear you say that, they're not going to know what.
They don't even know what classical academy is.
Or the classical education is.
There are no classical academies here in the UK. And yes, there used to be classical education, which is where you got the term grammar school. That's from a classical educational model. But yeah, nowadays it's gone. They don't even know why it's called a grammar school. And those grammar schools that still exist today do not look anything like classical academies. So
yeah, but anyway, so those are sort of the surprising negatives, I would say.
So now we need to follow it up with some amazing positives.
Some surprising positives. Go ahead.
One of my positives is the balance between family and work life. That is so. That's something that that would keep me here in the UK. Is the idea. The surprising plus for me is the balance between work and family life, and I think that you can't find that in the US. It's very difficult to find 37-hour work weeks. And how many days holiday do you have?
It's 6 weeks.
6 weeks holiday. Felipe's home by like 5:30 for dinner, and he has a lot of time to spend with the children. And then your bosses, your employers respect and encourage you to take all of your holiday. Whereas in America, even though you're given 4 weeks maybe holiday.
I started out with 2 weeks.
Even though you're given 2 weeks, they don't even want you to take those 2 weeks. They like pressure you to work 60-hour weeks and not take off.
I think it varies company by company, and it might be different now with the tech giants and the millennials and the soft generations now that have playgrounds in the offices and work at home and all that. But certainly when I entered the workforce 10 years ago in the States, it was, you have to, in this particular company at least, which was one of the older Fortune 500 companies, you had to put in max effort if you want to be considered for advancement. But if you were doing minimum 40-hour weeks, yeah, that would be a black mark.
Yeah, so I really like that, and then the maternity leave is really good. Though I didn't work full time, just the fact that it's normal for mothers to stay at home for the first 12 months of their child's life is so much better for the children than the ones that I see in America going back to work after 4 weeks, after 2 weeks. I can't even imagine that. Yeah. But yeah, around 6 weeks is the norm. Everyone by the end of 6 weeks, people go back to work.
Yeah, I think so. Culturally, positively, I would say, I think by and large people do focus on making sure that others aren't feeling awkward and aren't feeling sort of put off by a situation or some circumstance. I think whereas initially I thought, I just want to know what you really think. You know, you don't have to lie and tell me that everything's normal, everything's okay, or even things are brilliant, but they're really horrible. I think on reflection, I'm sure there have been many instances I'm certain where I've said things that probably aren't right or aren't polite or whatever, and no one sort of confronted me about it or got negative with me. I think there's a little bit more social awareness in the culture, rather than sort of just I don't know, everyone is okay and I'm gonna go chat and everything's normal. I think people, and it plays itself out in driving. People are being considerate. If this person's stuck, they're gonna let them through. That doesn't happen in the U.S. You know, if you come to a door at the same time, it's like they're gonna let you through almost every time. If you come into the beginning of a queue or to line up into a queue, you're gonna be let in most of the time. So it's sort of this consideration for others that is okay, is nice. I think I like that. And then I think, like I was saying before, there's still a latent energy for the country. Clearly, the working class decided Brexit, in my view. The middle and upper class, clearly, I think by and large were remaining. But it was, for various reasons, people are going to say because they were lied to, or they were duped, or because they're stupid, I don't know. But I think by and large, the working class and then the older generation, which are retired, they voted to leave. And I think there's still almost invisible and unobvious pride in the country that it should stand on its own 2 feet. And so it's not all lost. It's not like some Americans believe, well, the UK is just so lost, it's irredeemable. How far lost they are. And I don't think that's the case.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below and check out our t-shirts at teespring.com.
Become a patron at patreon.com/postmodernfamily.
Thanks for watching. Bye.